I'm your presenter, Fredicia Library. This evening, I will cover the months April to June. April 1st saw the completion of road enhancement work that facilitated the smoother flow of traffic in Charlestown. The Public Works Department completed the Featherbed Alley project over the Easter weekend. Featherbed Alley was part of the Public Works Department's 2016 road enhancement program, which also included works in Newcastle, Farms Estate, Cane Garden, and Hanley's Road. For the first time, the island of Nevis was included in the activities for Diplomatic Week. On April 6th, the St. Christopher and Nevis Diplomatic Corps was invited to tour the island's cultural and historical sites. The ambassadors visited the Museum of Nevis History, the therapeutic hot springs at Bath Stream, and were taken on a tour of the Botanical Gardens, where they were welcomed by Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Vance Amory, and entertained by masquerades in the Vine Garden. At the Four Seasons Resort, the diplomats were treated to an art and craft display featuring work by Vaughn Anslin, Marvin Chapman, Shanita James, Chantal Brennan Martin, and Deborah Tyrrell. They also toured the Golden Rock Inn. 2 days prior, on April 4th, the Ministry of Social Development afforded a delegation of young people from Nevis the opportunity to participate in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs' round-table engagement with youth in St. Kitts. The forum was one of the activities to mark Diplomatic Week.
We never had in from Nevis persons stationed in any consulate in the region. From last year, we can now boast that we have 2 local persons in consulate, Miss Elsa Wilkin and Bristol in Dubai and Mr. Hull in Washington, D.C. What we are trying to do is to expose our young persons who might be interested in pursuing careers in the field of public relations, international relations, and diplomacy. And so we are hoping that they will find the discussion at this forum this morning very useful.
The first neurosurgery procedure at the Alexandra Hospital was performed in April, thanks to a partnership between the Ministry of Health and Division-born neurosurgeon, Dr. Jeffrey Liburd.
I feel quite proud, Jeffrey, to welcome you back and also to thank you, because I think this partnership that we've now forged, yourself and us here in Nevis, would not have been possible if not for your demonstrated willingness to come home and, as you've said, to contribute. And I'm very, very excited, and I think the Nevisian public should be excited that we have your skill set now available to us. And as you've said, since you've been here, you've actually done, I believe, our first neurosurgery procedure at the Alexandra Hospital. So for me, that's a major, major achievement and a big deal.
Dr. Jeffrey Liburd is originally from Rice's Village, Gingerland, Nevis, but currently resides in Jamaica. The Department of Agriculture and Fisheries held their first Community Outreach Day in May. The Community Outreach Day, which formed part of the calendar of activities for Agriculture Awareness Month 2016, was the brainchild of staff members. 2 teams from the Veterinary Division cleaned animal pens for 2 elderly livestock farmers, while another group planted plots of seasoning peppers they donated to a crop farmer. The staff at the Department of Fisheries spent the day cleaning landing sites at Newcastle, Long Hall, Jessops, and Cotton Ground, while staff at the Agro-Processing Unit made a variety of local fruit juices for donation to students at the Ivor Walters Primary School. The Department of Community Development hosted its first Community Development Day Fair on May 20th. The all-day street event in the heart of Charlestown was the department's newest addition to its calendar of activities for Community Development Month.
We would have thought about enlightening the public about the department, but also to extend it to the wider community and have persons who are entrepreneurs to come and have some of their goods on display, and also hopefully that they will get some sale. I saw people patronizing the bar because of the food that we have, the foods that we have there today, because we emphasize on selling the traditional Nibbijan cuisine. It's the first time we have decided to have the fair, so we are kind of, it's a start, but hopefully over the years, God's willing, it should get better.
On May 24th, farmers on Nevis were for the first time issued identification cards by the Department of Agriculture.
I would really want to, on behalf of all the farmers, extend congratulations to the Ministry, Department of Agriculture for taking this initiative It's long coming, but I think the timing is invaluable. From this day going forward, we could look at it as being a group that is well respected in our society.
Director Qtr Amory outlined a few of the requirements for attaining the farmer's identification card.
The yield parameters is something very important that we looked at. The use of irrigation, pesticides, and all the other technological advances that have come into play, and what we have been encouraging you to use once you started adopting those practices. That is another criteria that we look at. From a veterinary point of view, that you have been utilizing the services, you're up to date with your housing, the marketing services, etc.
Amory implored the farmers to value their ID cards. 22 service providers in the tourism industry were awarded on May 28th at an awards gala hosted by the Ministry of Tourism. The gala was the culmination of the ministry's month of activities dubbed Exposition Nevis, with the theme All Things Tourism Savor the Flavor. The event was hosted under the patronage of Pamela Barry, who was recognized for her contribution to tourism development in Nevis. Among the awardees was retired Permanent Secretary Tyrone O'Flaherty, who was recognized as a Ministry of Tourism stalwart. On June 15th, the Ministry of Social Development began a series of handing over ceremonies under its community housing program to assist residents who are in need of improved housing.
We have undertaken the project of going through our communities, our respective communities, and trying to alleviate the much stress of our poor and indigent. And so one of the areas in which we are doing this is by giving or assisting in dwelling homes. I would like to say on behalf of the Ministry of Social Development, the Department of Social Services, and by extension, the Nevis Island Administration, we are yet again delivering on our commitment, that commitment of looking after our seniors, our impoverished persons, and our community persons.
The Ministry of Social Development's community housing program is being done according to the dictates of the new social protection strategy. The Ministries of Education and Social Development on June 18th held a graduation ceremony to recognize 52 persons who completed the University of the West Indies Supervisory Management course. Funded by the NIA, the course was meant to empower the 52 persons who completed the program, said Junior Minister of Social Development, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. Premier and Minister of Education, the Honorable Vance Amory, noted that the graduates exceeded the NIA's expectations. He admonished them to demonstrate that it was good for them to have taken the 10-week course. The Nevis Air and Seaports Authority, NASPA, from June 23rd to 24th, hosted the 19th Annual General Meeting of the Port Management Association of the Caribbean, PMAC, at the Four Seasons Resort. Chairman Colin Dorr said NASPA was pleased to host the PMAC AGM for the second time. He noted that the meeting was being held at a time when the challenges facing small ports were enormous. Dorr thanked General Manager Oral Brandy for lobbying at last year's meeting for Nevis to be this year's host. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Nicole Slack-Liburd, and Health Promotions Officer Chanel Nisbet, in June of this year, presented the findings of a study conducted in Nevis on the prevalence and distribution of type 2 diabetes in the population. They participated in the Caribbean Public Health Agency's CAFA 61st Annual Health Research Conference held in the Turks and Caicos Islands from June 23rd to 25th. Demonstrated to oral and poster presentations, the results indicated that 17% of the population on Nevis is diabetic and 25% is hypertensive, a matter which continues to be of concern to the Ministry of Health. NNC's Year in Review continues with Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Stay tuned.